Hello, everyone. I'm David. He's Alex, and we're winning as you. This week we have left Resident Evil in the rearview mirror. That's what we did last time, wasn't it? A Resident Evil game? I
Probably.
think so. Instead, we thought we'd mix things up by doing a new release for a change. That's right, folks. This week we're delving into the nostalgia rammed world of PlayStation with is Astro Bot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what the game's called? For some reason, coming into this, I thought the game was going to be called Astro Bot World. And then when I was trying to search the game on the PlayStation Store for Astro Bot, it just kept saying Astro Bot. And I was like, no, I have that one. I've done that one. But no, that's Astro Bot's Playroom.
Yeah, there's a VR one as well.
Right, okay. Maybe that... Oh, I don't know about that one. But anyway, this one's Astro Bot. Which feels like the first of a first game, not a sequel. But anyway, that's what we're playing. Or that's what we've been playing.
It is probably the first proper game they've done, isn't it? Because before it was like tech demos or VR.
Demo,
so
yes.
now...
It's a bit funny that their sort of biggest IP of the PlayStation 5 era so far is was a glorified tech demo.
Yeah.
You think is that right? Have they had a bigger release? It's definitely like their best new IP that I can think of.
Oh yeah. They don't. Is this actually made in house at Sony? Is this one of the few games that they actually make?
Sobo or something like that. Sumo? No, it's not Sumo. It's a Team Asobo, I want to say.
Yeah, Team Asobi. They're
Asobi.
Yeah.
Are they in house?
I'm going to find that out right now.
Sucker Punch. They're like an in-out house.
It's a first party Sony studio, yeah.
Because I always get not confused. That's not the right word, but I always when Sony first. Maybe I'm talking out my arse here because I'm thinking of Naughty Dog now. In my head, Sony first party studios are always called Sony something. Sony Bend, Sony Liverpool, Sony. I don't know.
Sony Bend.
Yeah,
that's a shit name for a studio.
But yeah, this one's got its own name. But I guess Naughty Dog has its own name, and for at least for the moment, Bungie has its own name. But we'll see how that goes, I suppose.
Yeah. And just slap Sony in front of all of them. That'd be quite funny then. Sony Bungie. Sony Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, how are you today, Alex? I've not spoken to you properly in about...
Yeah, that was shit. That was rubbish. Yeah, I'm okay. How was your cruise?
It was good. I think this time, if I'm completely honest, it was a little bit long. So, like, normally when I go on a cruise, I go away with friends, and it's well, I'm too old for that now, or just not in the right headspace to be wanting to be drinking all the time, like it would be on a friend's cruise. So I've kind of found when I was away with my parents this time and my girlfriend.
Right.
And I found that this time when you're like sea days when I'm away with my mates, it's just like, well, we may as well go to the pub. It's not really the vibe that happens when you're away with family. So I was just like, I'm not really sure what to do with myself through the
no arcades days. There.
No, and I was really disappointed.
What?
Normally they've got a sports bar on board, and so I can go and like watch football or NFL or whatever it's on. And I can watch that, and they had a sports bar, so I was like, yes, right. Went out to the sports bar, and it was a kids bar. It was like selling like juices and stuff like that, and it had like here's some basketball. They had like a football and basketball area, and it was like for like kids to run about in. I was like, this is not what I was looking for a sports bar. So I went.
How dare they call that a bar?
I know. Looking around the ship, and they had the only bar they had that had TV screens, and it was just like ye old English pub. And they just showed motor racing the whole time. And I was like, this is not what I was looking for. But, like I said, it was good. I'm going to complain about it a lot, so I do want to say it was good fun, and it was nice. It was actually quite nice being just cut off from life for a little bit.
Yeah,
quite a bit of recharging. However, it was 2 weeks, and we left from Southampton, which meant there was like 2 sea days at the start till we got to somewhere that was sunny, and then we went to Morocco as one of the stops, which. Apologies to any Moroccan listeners. The stop we went to was not pleasant. It was like no roads, no paths, lots of like homeless people. And I was just we just got off the boat, thought this isn't safe, and then got back on the boat again. And so that was essentially
back to the kids to play some basketball.
Yeah, exactly. So that was essentially a sea day. And then one of the other stops we were meant to go. I don't know if I'm saying this place right, but it was in Portugal. Funchal, Funchal. Maybe
could be Funchal.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, there was a Portuguese strike from the ports authorities, so that got cancelled. That stopped. So that was another CDA. So, and then there was sort of 2-day CDAs at the end because you had to get back to Southampton. So it just felt like there was a lot of time at sea, which is normally the fun bit when you're away with friends. But this time I was just sort of left not really sure what to do with myself. So yeah, I was kind of, by the time I got off the boat, I was ready to be off the boat. But
I bet you were.
It was a good holiday. Lisbon was really cool. Where else did we go? I'm now blank. Cadiz is a cool place.
Where's that?
I think it's Cadiz. Oh, it's beside Valencia.
Oh, it's in Spain. Okay, yeah. That's kind of where I'm going to be going for my holiday next month.
Can you handle the heat when you go to I guess it's sort of
because it's October, so fine.
Because you went to Rhodes just before I did.
That was in the summer, though. That was in like August. Yeah, that was horrendous. That was the incident where I soaked through my entire underwear after a 15-minute walk with sweat. But yeah, usually Spain in late October is perfect for me. Plus, I can just walk around in a basketball top and shorts. So it's not like here where I have to sit in a carpeted room and play video games. It's there where I can put my feet in a swimming pool and have my shirt off.
Exactly.
So yeah. I have a list, if you would like me to go through it, of what I listed as games I played while David abandoned me. Would you like to? Would you like to hear the horrendous mess I got myself in without you around to help me? Because
mine was just I watched. So my activities, because mine are much shorter than yours.
Oh yeah, go for it.
5 seasons of Dad's Army. I read. I read a book and I played about 40 hours of Balatro.
Fuck me! How are the DLC things for Balatro?
Well, I was like, oh, it's a new deck. It's not. It's just skin for like the face cards. So it's like it's
not even new Jokers or anything.
No, so it's not that I noticed anyway. It's just your king's now got Geralt's face in pixelated form on it.
Oh, that's shit.
Japanese porn.
No wonder it was free.
Yeah.
My God. All right. Well, that's a shame. I'll curb my enthusiasm for that.
I did get to the point though. I hope Kelsey's listening to this. I won 4 rounds on the bounce in Balatro, and I was like, that is a good run.
Kelsey, you're shit at Balatro, mate. Oh, you know what he's also shit at? Recommending Capcom games, because I played about 10 minutes of Kunitsugami and I fucking hated it.
What the is that?
You know, he was talking about that one where it's like, I think he chucked it in our group chat. It's like supposedly like a hack and slash, but mixed with a tower defense, which I should have seen as a red flag.
Yeah, I played that because of his recommendation. It's fucking shit.
I hated it.
Like I was like how, because I'm sure like he had tweeted about it just before I
think he had
the Twitter room, and he was like, oh, it's potential game of the year. I was like, oh, this must be good. And I played it. I was like, what have you been sniffing, Kelsey?
The combat felt really loose and horrible. And then it was all like, oh, run up to this guy and tell him to go stand at this door, and then you've got to move some woman through the world to the door. I just thought, I hate tower defense. Why did I ever accept that this was going to be something I'd like?
Do you? Yeah, I do. It just did not jive with me at all, unfortunately. Which is I don't know. We all do it. We all have poor recommendations every so often. So
I mean, he's not alone in saying it's good.
Yeah, no, I've heard some. It was sort of him that put it on my radar, and then when I was sort of poking around the edges at it, people were really liking it. So fully accept it's probably you and I, but
yeah, probably is. Yeah, because I thought I trust Kelsey's recommendations, and then afterwards I went, no, I don't, not anymore, never again. He had me with Trauma Center, and then he fucked it. Right, so then I thought I'd get an early start on the Xbox 360 list, so I played Mirror's Edge. Which was
nice, yeah. Okay, how is that aged? Because I liked it back in the day. Because you hadn't played this before, right? This is a new game to you. Yeah, I enjoyed it back. It was like so in the 360 days when I played it, I would have said this is a solid like 7.58 out of 10. It's a good game.
I would probably stick it around a 7 or maybe a 6, but yeah. Okay. I don't know if I would put it in a top 100. Maybe I would. I thought it was a really great concept, and it executes brilliantly on Series X.
It's novel, right? Thinking about the era that it came along in, where you have to shoot everything, where it's just a game that you can. Well, I think you can just about play it without shooting a gun.
The shooting parts are the worst parts.
Yes,
And the combat, which is what dragged it down for me. I think I kept getting stuck with the fiddly combat controls, and I just wanted to be running and jumping again.
Yeah.
So it kind of lets itself down when you have to engage with something other than that. I also thought the voice acting and the story were pretty weak, which is probably due to the amount of time or how long ago it came out. It didn't keep me engaged.
I'm trying to remember the story. She's a runner, right? She's essentially a parkour runner that takes messages that you don't want going on normal channels to different places. And she gets framed for killing someone, does she?
Either she does or somebody else does.
Okay.
Yeah, her friend gets murdered while she's there, but there's also somebody else there at the same time. So I'm not sure if she tries to escape being framed or she has to try and help clear the name. I can't really remember.
Okay.
But it's got those weird, like 2D animated cutscenes, hasn't it? Where it's all like almost static images, which they are not nicely drawn. So I was disappointed in that.
No, I guess probably thinking back, it was probably quite low budget.
It probably was.
When EA made more than, what do they make these days? FIFA? Or sorry, EA FC?
Yeah.
What else do they do? They must do. Oh, they make bad Battlefield games.
Yeah, they make Madden.
Madden.
They sometimes think about making Dead Space and then they don't like the outcome, even though the outcome is brilliant.
Yeah.
Our outcome for that is great. Their outcome apparently is not because they don't get money for it.
Didn't sell enough.
We had a good time. Then I tried to play Cinemora, which is like a shmup.
Okay.
Really, really good art style.
It sounds quite Alex so far. Shmup.
Yeah. So it has like basically every section of every level has a time limit that you have to hit the time limit to progress. If you run out of time, you blow up. You will lose seconds when you get hit rather than life. So you don't die with one hit or anything.
How do you spell Cinemora?
SINE and then space MORA. This is a 360 game. Still looks beautiful. The art style is like kind of steampunky.
This looks fantastic.
Yeah, and it's got like a really sort of Soviet style story to it. I need to play more of it, but I very potentially would put that in the top 100.
Oh, I'm going to have to play this. This looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. And like I say, it's an accessible shooter because, well, for number one, it's not absolutely frenetic. It's not a bullet hell, and also, the way that you just lose time to complete the section when you get hit, rather than actually just losing a ship. And you have a slow down time mechanic as well, so you can basically pause the whole screen, and so you can weave your way through bullets and stuff. Yeah, it's a really cool game.
Where did you play this, and how did you?
I bought that when it came out,
so I
still had it. It's just been ported over to the modern versions, but I bought it on 360 back when it came out and got good reviews. I've just never finished it, so I thought I'd give it another whirl.
Give that a whirl.
Nice. For some reason, I had a Dreamcast night, which didn't work out brilliantly. I played some game that I can't even remember the name of, but it's like a first-person sword fighting thing. Terrible, absolutely fucking terrible. Just would not stop talking, and the version I had was all in Japanese. There was no subtitles or anything, so I couldn't even understand the story, and I couldn't skip through any of the cutscenes. So I hated that. I played a game called Zombie Revenge, which Steve once nominated on the Hall of Fame in the beat 'em up category. It's basically a spin-off beat 'em up from the House of the Dead series.
Okay.
So you walk around punching the shit out of zombies, but you also have loads of guns. Yeah. That one was slightly... It takes a few minutes to get used to the control system because it is a bit odd.
Right.
But that was a lot of fun. Quite difficult at times, but beat 'em ups usually are. That's the point of them, I guess. That one I would recommend, just ripping a CD off or putting on Redream if it works on there. And then I played Project Justice because I got excited for the new Capcom like fighting collections and stuff. And Project Justice is kind of like it's like one of the 3D fighters.
A lot of good fighters on Dreamcast, from what I have sort of always picked up through osmosis, because I can't speak authoritatively to. There's a guy. Wait, I'm googled it here. There's a guy wearing red with a spiky hair that I recognise, but I don't know if he's like a rip off of another fighting game.
I think Project Justice is either is potentially a sequel to Rival Schools, which you may have heard of. They bring out these characters every now and again for like Sega stuff. Like he was in, I think they were in like Project Cross Zone and stuff like that. As I get older, like I keep trying to dive back into fighters. Like I did buy that Marvel vs. Capcom collection that's just got released the other day.
Yeah.
I'm fucking terrible at those games.
So,
like I almost wanted to refund it, but I bought it from CD Key, so I fucking can't. I'm so upset.
So I've got two major issues because I know, like, whenever fighting games come up on a podcast, I will want to talk. I will undoubtedly say, "Oh, I'm interested in fighting games. I want to get into them." There's two problems. Yeah. One, we're probably. I mean, there's maybe three problems. One, we're maybe slightly on the older end of where we can be truly good at them. Two,
certainly, yeah.
Two, the way we play games, we just don't and are not willing to dedicate the time to get good at them. And three, the other option to be good at them is to sort of, like you and I, pick a fighting game and just play it together and sort of get into it with each other. Problem with that is you're sort of rolling the dice on us playing the game the same amount, or to the point that we're both of similar ability, and one person doesn't just batter you all the time, because then it'll stop being fun if someone wins all the games. So it's to actually pick a fighting game, get good at it, and get out of it what you want. There's a lot of like planets aligning have to happen, I think.
That's very true. That is so spot on. But as we're getting older now, I think I've kind of had this dawning of a realization that maybe 3D fighters is more where I should aim my time.
Oh, and what, like move away from 2D? Right, okay.
Yeah, because 2D is so twitchy and flicky, and like the Marvel vs. Capcom games, the sprites are just going fucking nuts. It is so fast paced. But something like Project Justice, it feels quite a lot like a slightly more Capcom's. So when I say slightly more Capcom, I mean like Street Fighter style version of like a Tekken or a Virtua Fighter, and those games are of a slower pace, and it's more about throwing and countering and stuff, and that felt more like something I could get into, or at least enjoy on a casual level, than playing Marvel vs. Capcom, where you just get absolutely wrecked by flashing lights and crazy speedy like the default from the first Marvel vs. Capcom game on that new collection is turbo. I'm like, turn it back to normal. Fuck, I've only just started. What's wrong with you? Let's all chill out for a minute. So Project Justice is going to be on that Capcom Fighting Collection 2, which has also got Power Stone 1 and 2 on it, and I feel like that's a great January,
because maybe that's something like that I should get and just like.
Well, you kicked the fuck out of me at Power Stone before, so I owe you one for that anyway.
Yeah, you do.
So we can play that online. That'll be good fun.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should maybe aim at that one.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. I'm into that, because like I say, every time fighting games come up, I say about how I want to get into them. I think it's time I was going to say shit or get off the pot. I think it's time I got off the pot and took a shit.
Yeah. Then the Video Game Hall of Fame had the episode for 2001 games, which obviously ended in disaster because the poll got hijacked by the Shenmue nutters, and they ruined it. And Steve got Shenmue 2 in there by like 79% of the votes or something. But when I was pretty certain I was going to pick Max Payne, but I thought, you know what, I'll give Devil May Cry another go. So I played quite a lot of Devil May Cry. Quite a frustrating game, looking back at it.
Fake Resi.
Yeah, well, it was Resi for a bit. It's just quite difficult.
As in, like, is it clunky? Is it?
No. It's not clunky.
Hard.
It plays. It plays really, really well still. There are issues that I had probably with the fixed camera, because it's fixed camera, but you're not using tank controls. So you have that, like you had with Resi, whatever it was you played, the remake or whatever, where you didn't use tank controls, and then sometimes he flicks backwards when you're still holding one.
Yes.
So I had that a little bit, and it's just a challenge. So I kept dying a lot, and I kept having to go back and redo sections. And I thought, like, this is fine. This is probably expected for a game like this, but I just can't really be bothered to keep failing and redoing it. Like, it just doesn't feel quite as fluid and as intuitive as something like Bayonetta, because it won't, because it was like 10 years earlier.
I feel like you've got to be in the headspace for maybe that type of game, and if you're just not there, you're not there.
Yeah, it's a shame, because I would always have said, like, I really love Devil May Cry, and I do love the 5th one. I really should probably play the 3rd one, because I've never really properly played that. I've played 1 and 2 and 5, and 2's a lot of 4.
Not good, right? If I made that up,
2's awful. That was made by an American studio. They kind of outsourced it, and apparently it really pissed off Kamiya, because he had nothing to do with it. And when he saw the final game, he was absolutely fuming at how shit it was, because they ruined his baby. So that's that's quite funny.
Sorry, Kamiya.
So yeah, I ditched Devil May Cry as my nomination, and probably will never play that one again. Then I got into a stage where I decided, like how I randomly went with Ridge Racer. I thought, I'm going to get loads of Ridge Racer games. I was like, you know what I really haven't played in a while and I really like? One of those fucking Muso games. So I had searched around the internet for a day at work, like, what are the best Dynasty Warriors style games?
God. Okay.
Bought loads of those. So I bought on CEX. I bought Dynasty Warriors 5 on the Xbox, original Xbox. 99 Nights, which everybody may remember is the one from that Capcom conference where the guy was going 1 million troops when he was trying to make everybody really excited for 1 million troops. I haven't played that one yet, but I also got Dynasty Warriors 7 on the PS3, and I've been playing that. Fucking brilliant. I really, really love those games. Like, I've gone mad since then. I've bought Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition from Vinted, which hasn't arrived yet on Switch, and I've bought Samurai Warriors 4 DX in the Steam sale that just came up. I have got one. They're just so chill. If you're just in a bad mood or whatever, you just want to fuck up like thousands of dudes all at once. And the combo system is basically you press X and then you press Y after a certain time. And so it's like X then Y, or you've got X X Y, X X X Y, X X X X X Y, and so that's it. That's the combos. And every Y, wherever you press Y in your sequence of X presses, will be a different kind of like special move. And then you've got like a Muso attack, which you build up a special meter for. You press a button and you wreck like thousands of dudes in one hit. So every now and then those games are so satisfying, and I really like number 7. I don't know what I'll play next. Probably that Hyrule Warriors one, because that one is great. I just wanted the version on Switch. I've never played
that, but yeah, that's probably, if I was going to go for that might be the one that I would.
Yeah, they had a Berserk one, which I really wish people didn't hate, because I love Berserk. But apparently that one's shit. And I think a lot of the complaints for that one is that you don't get to switch characters, because the big thing about Dynasty Warriors is like there's 30 characters and you're always switching, and all of them have like a signature weapon, and you get to enjoy like, oh, now I'm playing as this guy with his axe or this guy with his bow, whereas Berserk, a lot of people are saying it's just guts. You're basically guts for like 80% of the game with his big sword. So yeah, but I would really recommend, like, if you ever fancy picking up one of these, just look up a list of like how they rank, and then just grab a more recent Dynasty Warriors or something. Yeah. Not 9. Like 7 or 8, they're both fucking excellent. Here's a weird one I switched to after that. So first of all, when I was trying to install something,
you're falling down some fucking hole, man.
I really have listened to like how none of this is like in any way related to itself. It's all just gone all off in random directions. So I was watching, think of an Xbox video on YouTube, and he was talking about like great, what was it called? Like Western games. That's what it was. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to finally play Red Dead Revolver on my Series X. But while it was installing, I just decided to play Mega Man 9. Fucking brilliant. That's great. Still good. Red Dead Revolver.
What do you think about it? Because I've played this, and it's I thought it was rough.
It is rough. Like, I don't think the shooting is bad. I think that felt quite nice, actually. The problem I had was, firstly, that it was just filled with like interspersed cutscenes of people talking at you that seemed to be kind of unrelated to the previous one. Like, the story was not linear and easy to follow. It was just loads of people talking shit in loads of different ways, and loads of like random dudes just come out from somewhere and go, "Hey, I'm gonna fuck you up!" Like, who the hell are you? The boss fights were almost impossible, but they were so hard.
Yeah,
and I really wanted to like it more than I did. I don't hate it, but I think I said to you, like, oh, let's do a Rockstar retrospective series where we do like The Warriors and Red Dead Revolver and Bully and stuff like that. And Red Dead Revolver did not set me off on the way to thinking that was a good idea.
Such a weird game as well. I remember it's been a while, so my memory is slightly hazy, but that game was in development before Rockstar either bought it or bought the company.
Oh, okay.
And then Rockstar like changed tack on it, and it changed quite a lot from what there was in development pre-Rockstar from what ended up. So it's sort of a mishmash of two different directions, and then
that feels very evident when playing it.
It's also just, I just find it fascinating that Rockstar decided to tie Red Dead Redemption to that franchise, because it is so differently in terms of like gameplay. Tonally it's like night and day. I just wonder why they decided to tie that IP, because like it wasn't like it was a famous or recognizable name that they were thought, right, well, at least get some brand recognition from this. It was a sort of lesser known PS2 game that that just didn't really have any sort of coherent direction, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm surprised that, like I say, I'm surprised that it ended up becoming what it became, because it's just, I don't know why they decided to do that. Because I'm sure, what's the sort of, I was going to say main antagonist, but he's not really. He's sort of the gang leader in Red Dead, or Red Dead Redemption 2 leader. But you kill him at the. Do you kill him at the start of Red Dead Redemption 1?
Yeah. Oh I can't remember, but I know the one you mean now.
Anyway,
is he in Revolver? Is he?
Yes, he's in Revolver as a character at some point. I wonder why they've sort of pulled them across. It's just an odd bunch of decisions, but
it strikes me that you can really tell the bits that Rockstar forced them to put in, and that is the sort of things I was talking about a minute ago with the sort of cutscene interactions with people. Those feel like the bits where in a GTA game you've driven to somebody who's been explained to you before on the map. You go and see them, you get like an introductory cutscene, then you probably get in a car with them and they talk at you for ages with all this exposition, and then you repeatedly visit them again and again and again, and you get to know the characters more. This just felt like they do it one time out of absolutely nowhere, because it's like an arcade game. You're not going to meet these people. You'll just finish a level and then something will happen and somebody will introduce themselves and you'll never see them again. It just felt like they tried to add that cinematic quality to it, but in the end, they just made the whole thing really disjointed.
Yeah.
And in between all of that is you just getting absolutely fucked up by really difficult bosses. You're killing. It's like you're taking a third of their health off before they annihilate you. You think, I'm never going to do this. This is so hard. So that was the second to last game. The final game that I've been playing probably the most consistently over all this, which I've briefly spoken to you about before in text, is Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I really, really like. I really like it. Yeah. I am so pumped to play Rebirth now, because 7 Remake, as most people will know, is set almost entirely in Midgar. I played Final Fantasy VII maybe a couple of years ago now with a friend of mine who was a big fan from when he was growing up watching it. He was kind of talking me through the whole game. We were chatting and enjoying all the silliness about it. And because of that, maybe I don't remember correctly enough about Final Fantasy VII to see what's actually been changed or what's the same. Or like, I don't have, like, if this was a remake of Ocarina of Time, I would know every single beat that's been changed. I would know every single beat that's the same and has been improved. I don't really pick up on any of that, which is it's a shame, really, because I'd probably appreciate it even more, or I would hate it if they've taken out something I like. I don't know. All I know is this has one of the best combat systems in a JRPG I've ever played. I believe it's very similar to Final Fantasy 15, where you're pressing the X button a lot, sort of Final Fantasy 16 style. So you're building up combos like that. Then you can pause the action once you've done enough damage to the enemies or taken enough damage. Your active time battle meter will get to a stage where you can use it, which is similar to the original. Then you can pause the whole screen or slow it right down to a pause, and then you can pick your spells or use your items or use your special abilities. You can swap between characters. You can make your characters use their abilities just by pressing the triggers, or you can actually take over them wholesale. It's just so fun to play that battle system. It just has not got boring. Like using the materia and stuff feels really good and quite intuitive compared to the original. Story is what the story is. It's completely overacted. It's camp as fuck. Some of the stuff is absolutely ludicrous, but beautiful to look at. Really well animated. Just I'm all in on the remake train, and I can't wait to play the next one.
That's good to hear.
And it's not very long either. It's probably about 30-40 hours,
which is very short for a JRPG.
Yeah, which is why it's probably about 10 parts of it to come or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so they've got another, because it took them a while to get Rebirth out, did it? Did I make that up? A couple of years?
This was 2020, I think.
Okay. And
so,
Rebirth
4 years.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's pretty average for game development these days.
I guess so. I suppose they've done a lot of the engine prep and whatever.
Like for it.
They're just so massive that I guess they take so long for that reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I would recommend it to you because I don't think you need to know anything about 7.
If I was going to get into it, though, would you recommend I just played the old 7?
No, I think you'd find that too obscure.
Okay.
I don't think I'd have enjoyed 7 as much if I didn't have Ash with me to talk me through it and tell me where to go. And because it just doesn't give a shit about telling you anything, doesn't hold your hand in any way, which is fine. Some people want that, and some people don't like it when games do that too much. I wouldn't say that 7 does it too much, but it certainly does at least give you like map markers of where to go. It's a lot more, it feels a lot more linear and a lot more respecting of your time, apart from, again, some of the side quests, like 16, fall down the hole of, oh, the 5 kids have gone missing, go find them, and just walk around.
16 is the one I've got a kind of an active desire to play.
Yes. I still think you would like that, but I think you could toss a coin between that and this.
Yeah.
And you would enjoy both of them.
Nice.
But that was it.
Nice one.
And obviously I played Astro Bot a lot.
Astro Bot, yeah.
Like, a lot.
Just to chuck it in there, because I think it's probably worth mentioning, given that we did a podcast about it. I played through the first Alan Wake 2 DLC yesterday, and it's fine.
Ooh.
It's good fun. It's good.
Okay.
It's like a short, like I finished it in a couple hours. There's three short episodes. They're all sort of encapsulated in like they start and end in their own right. Yeah, they're just fun. The first one's, I love the sort of way the story goes in the first one. It's sort of centered around Rose, the diner lady.
Oh,
and she
yeah.
just sort of, it just like dives into her sort of obsession with Alan Wake and just takes the piss out of that a little bit.
You don't play as her, do you?
Yeah, you play as her.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, because he gets captured by his twin brother, so she goes off to try and rescue him.
Oh, by what's the guy's name? Scratch.
Well, I thought it was Scratch, but no, I don't think it is. It's just like its own sort of made up story.
Oh.
Okay. And then second one, I think because I haven't played it, I think you play as a character from Control, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
Running about in Coffee World, and then the third one you play as, is it Tim Breaker, the police sheriff guy? You plays him, and it plays about with different game genres. So it's this one. I won't do spoilers, but it starts off. You're playing as Tim Breaker, and Sam Lake is there, and you're making a game about Tim Breaker, and you're sort of talking about
actual Sam Lake, not his character.
Actual Sam Lake, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you're talking about making a game about Tim Breaker, and he's like, oh, okay, go off and read the script in your green room. You come back, and then it just starts playing with different game styles. So like you go into like a 2D beat 'em up, and you end up in like a text adventure at some point, which is really cool. It's just really sort of messes with itself. And it's just good fun. They're not particularly difficult. It's just I was sort of, because I was aware I spoke to you recently about it, saying that the new DLC was coming out. So I was like, I need to get this played in preparation for that coming out. So I've now done that. So I would recommend it.
Sounds fun.
It's a couple hours of your time, and it's just more Alan Wake. And what can be wrong with that?
Nothing.
But what can be wrong with Astro Bot? Not a lot.
Well, we can talk about that. Yeah. We're like, Super Mario Sunshine Galaxy, right?
Yeah, it is. It really is. Do you know what? I was actually thinking, playing through this, there's like the odd level where the music even feels very like Nintendo emulated, I would say.
Yeah, when it's not doing the sort of the straight up kind of electro stuff, like with him saying Astro Bot in the background of the music or whatever, then I totally feel that. Like I have seen people discuss the fact that, it's just Mario Galaxy, the PlayStation version, but there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Like, who else is making it? No one, not even Nintendo.
No, exactly. And it's still an awesome game. Like, I don't think I don't know. I don't really. You're right. People have been saying that almost like a negative, but all right. People are...
Maybe they think it's a negative because Mario Galaxy is so elite.
But they think Mario or Nintendo have the monopoly on making sort of 3D platformers these days.
It does sound a bit gatekeepery as well. Yeah, but you're also trying to compare it to one of the highest rated, most critically acclaimed games that ever made.
Yeah.
And seemingly not many things are going to come up against that and come out victorious. I don't necessarily think that needs to be the aim. No. I just think this type of game is sorely lacking. It's so relentlessly enjoyable but I don't care if they've copied Mario Galaxy because it's great.
Do you know? Can I just say because we're about to be extremely positive about this game. I assume, maybe not, but one thing that did jump out at me is, and I think actually it was a thought I'd had in my head, but it was a thought that was crystallized by Yahtzee, in that kind of come away from this game thinking it's like a celebration of PlayStation, but to me,
right, this was what I was going to ask you about anyway. So
it's a celebration of what PlayStation was like. One of the main levels is an Uncharted game, and they haven't had a mainline Uncharted game in 7 years, and things like that. Like, I think a lot of what was nice and nostalgic about these games are things that Sony either don't do anymore, haven't done in a long time, or just sort of abandoned. Like you can put on again, there's licensing issues and things like that. But one of the most popular games.
No, there was no Square stuff.
No. Cool. One of the most popular things of all time that you can dress your little Astro up as is things like the Bloodborne character, and just you obviously know people absolutely love this, so why is there a consistent refusal to give people what they want and either remake it, remaster it, or give us another one? Obviously there's licensing issues in that, but I think that's broadly
therein lies the problem.
Yeah. But I think
Sony doesn't make any of these things. No. They get other people to do it for them, like they always have.
Yeah, and it just sort of again, I had an absolutely great time with the God of War level, and the Horizon level was fantastic. But it just sort of again reminded me that the sort of tentpole Nintendo games, tentpole PlayStation games that they make have sort of converged a little bit and are quite similar third-person hack and slash shooter games.
Did you see the PlayStation, whatever they call it, State of Play?
No, what were they doing?
Third-person action adventure hack and slash games over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I'm just being a grump, but yeah, I'm a bit sort of bummed out that that's what Sony have sort of descended into doing it, because playing a game like this reminded me how sort of weird and willing to take risks Sony used to be as a company, and how fun they used to be, and they used to just have mental stuff out of left field that you wouldn't expect, and maybe didn't sell amazing, but did well enough for them at that time. And the games industry has changed, so it's not all their fault, but now the sort of stuff they release is just much of the same thing with a different skin on it.
Yeah,
they've got Ubisoft-itis at the moment.
Yeah, not quite, maybe not to the full extent of them.
No. I don't know. I don't think anybody could accept that.
Yeah. So to further elaborate,
Spider-Man in there either, right? Which is a Sony property. I thought we would have had something.
That's true.
Spider-Man-ish.
Yeah, maybe they just thought that doesn't work because he's a comic book character first and foremost, but maybe. I don't,
because I think given how creative they are, there is a
it's so sick to have a Spider-Man
level, right, that they could mess with.
Yeah. Do you think, because as we just said, this game is like a museum of PlayStation, which is awesome. It is awesome, really awesome. It's quite funny that the central premise of the game is how magic the PS5 is, and you've got a magical PS5, and you get to put the PS5 together. It's a PS5, everyone. and also hilarious that the main antagonist of this game is a fucking scalper, basically, who steals the PS5 so nobody else can get it. So they are imitating life. But do you think that the PlayStation Museum side of it, because that is genuinely brilliant, is that too much of a crutch for this game to lean on? Like, would it hit the same? Would this game be the same without that? I think we both agree it's not necessarily earned, because PlayStation doesn't really have that much of a back library of blockbuster shit like Nintendo does that they made themselves. Can they ever do this again? Like, was it too much?
I suspect we're going to find out if they can do it again, because they're going to do it again, probably.
It makes fiduciary sense, yeah. But, what do you think about all of that? I know I threw like 7 questions at you there.
It's actually an interesting thought. And as you were speaking there, I was like, this sort of wraps up into another feeling I've had about it, but in this chatting about it's gone in my head, so I will just sort of pivot if I remember at some point. But yeah, it's an interesting thought. I think probably not. I think I've remembered now, my chief concern coming into this game is fantastic, and one of the best games I had played that year when it came out, Astro Bot Playroom. Worked as a short experience, because you got in, you got out, they were allowed to explore an idea, and every time you went into a different level, they tried something new.
Had a real game jam feel about it.
Yeah,
this game does.
It does to an extent. I think that they reuse things in a way that they didn't in the previous game, which again is understandably so, but that little bot that when you turn yourself into like a cauldron, like a metal cauldron, because it's not a ball, because he's got a lid, doesn't it? So I don't know what you are, but that thing, it uses that a few times, and it sort of dips in and out and comes back to ideas that they had previously used, which again, like it's not necessarily a criticism.
No, it's more of a Mario derivative again, isn't it? Like reusing the different power-ups he would get.
I think it probably still is a fun game if you don't have the PlayStation crutch, but I'm not sure if it would quite hit in the same way. I came away from this game extremely high, feeling good about myself, and having played the game, and I was like, this is maybe going to be my favorite game of the year. However, I'm not sure it would have that impact, I think, if it didn't have all the PlayStation stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. And like sort of exploring the worlds and doing the Uncharted world and thinking, oh, they've actually nailed this, because I was playing through the Uncharted world and I was like, what this level needs is a building falling down around you as you're moving through it. And then it did it, and I was like, oh, this is so good. And then even things like when you did the Horizon world, doing things like having a mini version, having to climb that big satellite giraffe thing, and then also the way the bow and arrow works. I did think, actually, see, like turned into bot form, I couldn't differentiate the characters in Horizon. They were just like various person with dreadlocks.
I don't know enough about them. I love that the God of War one had you walking through a crack in a wall while it loaded in the next bit. Yeah, that was brilliant. That was so self-aware.
I think that's so. It sort of where I'm going with that is it almost becomes impossible to extrapolate the game from the IP nods.
It's like Smash Brothers, right?
Yeah, because what makes a lot of this game special is the nods to the IP and the sort of intrinsic way that the developers seem to understand what made those games. Like, we often talk about video games where people bring out a sequel and it's like, oh, you didn't understand why this first game was successful, did you?
Yeah.
And this is like a bunch of developers that have sat down and they've sort of looked at different IPs across the Sony,
they've looked at fucking every single one they've ever had,
and they've understood it, and they've managed to sort of extract, sort of like pull out the essence of what made those games in a recognizable way.
Very impressive.
The other way the analogy I can think of is like when you go to see a comedian that does impressions, and they manage to pick out that little like that little voice tick or that little bodily movement that you're like, oh, that is them. Even if the impression itself isn't amazing, that's what they've done.
Spot on. Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think? Do you agree with that, or does this game is this game as good without the Sony IPs attached?
I certainly think that the game is creative enough on its own that like the nuts and bolts of the game itself really doesn't involve a lot of PlayStation references,
no,
other than you find a bot and here it is, or there's PlayStation symbols floating about everywhere. Obviously, you've got the hero levels, which we'll discuss more in a minute. Finding the bots, I don't really know how you could have that as the main mechanic of the game again, because how many more are there? I mean, I know they've got fucking, like, I've got some of them listed here, like Siren, Vib Ribbon, Alundra, Ark the Lad, Buzz, Mr. Mosquito, like Onimusha.
I would see when I find that Buzz guy, I was like, oh my God,
hate that guy.
Even gone Buzz man.
Yeah, like I don't know what's left for them to do that again. So I don't know how you really
if you were
pull from anywhere else.
Well, maybe come back to this. Fuck it, I'm doing it now. If you were going to try and make a hero level out with what they had done in Spider-Man aside, because
that's going to say
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like what could they do, or what would you want them to do? Would it be a PlayStation IP, or do you think like? Because you could do like other stuff that they've got in there.
I mean, they obviously could have done a Crash Bandicoot theme, something or other. It's just, it is weird to me that they didn't have any Square stuff in the game whatsoever. Like something's obviously gone wrong there between the two of them.
Like wildly litigious though. Like are they not the ones? Or is it Square? Who's the Japanese company that won't let you even stream the game? Which you could argue that might even lend themselves to sales.
That might be that. I know Atlas wouldn't let people stream Persona or something.
That's right. Maybe it's Atlas I'm thinking of, because were they not also there's something funny about.
Although Joker from Persona was in this as a bot, wasn't he?
Yes, I don't know. I need to. It's interesting. Square's not in there because they're sort of
they're so synonymous, right?
Yeah, they're like a sucker punch. Like they're not first party, but they feel first party.
Yeah, so I feel like you could.
The Final Fantasy brand is, to me, in my mind at least, sort of inextricably linked to a PlayStation.
Exactly. So if you could have had a Final Fantasy style level, that would have been awesome. Like a little turn-based one. Would have been good. That would have been, yeah, exactly. So there's some there you could have. I was just going to say another one, and I've forgotten what it was. Oh, like a Ghost of Tsushima or something. Like
you're right.
One where you're involving like a samurai sword.
I'd have
or
liked
some
like
kind
an
of
RPG
shit.
They could have messed around with like turn-based gameplay for a level.
Yeah,
been quite fun.
Definitely. But in terms of like, finding all the bots, you can't really do that again. But it was, as you said, it is just kind of like watching a comedian do an impression and go, oh yeah. And that's what a lot of it was. It just comes off the screen and you go, oh yeah. Or you go, what? Who the fuck is that? And then you find out it's like a promotional cat that they had in Japan for the PlayStation 2 or whatever. It's like, all right, okay. Or it's the flower from Flower, everyone. So
no Croc, unfortunately.
No, there's still time. Still time. So yeah, like I did love it. We're such massive fans of gaming and the history of gaming that there's no way we weren't going to unabashedly be like, this is fucking awesome. Like just seeing this company celebrate, I say itself, things that it has paid for in the past to be made for it. That was fantastic. I don't think it hampers the overall creativity that's shown within the game. The game can feel very significantly like its own thing, just with all this sprinkling of PlayStation lore on top of it. So I don't think it was too much. I don't think it would lose it if it got rid of it, but it's definitely always going to be appreciated by people who aren't cynical and miserable. If it's, if that's all over the game, everyone should appreciate that as a nice thing to have. I don't know if they can do it again though. I'm really not sure about that.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see what they do with that. If they do, like you said before, they almost certainly are going to do something again because it's too popular now for them to just abandon it.
Yeah,
it's really fascinating. I wonder what they do. I wonder if they've got. Do you know if they've got DLC planned? Because maybe that's where we'll see a Spider-Man. Maybe that's where we'll start to see like a Square world.
Well, they've just announced free DLC, haven't they? And I think there are some new bots in that, but I don't think there's anything significant in there.
That's probably the major thing that was missing for me is the time attack mode, which I think is part of the free DLC. Because
I think they're new levels, aren't they?
Yeah, I played those a lot, trying to sort of improve my times in the previous game.
Oh, of course, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were kind of talking about like the hard sort of challenge levels that they have in this game. But no, there was time attack stuff in the original Astro Bot's playroom, wasn't there? Yeah, you're right.
Like leaderboards and things like that. Yeah, that was a significant sort of omission for me in this one.
Good point. Really good point. Well, speaking of levels, I've got a list here of some of my favorite levels. If I've missed any out that you like, tell me.
Okay.
But the first one I've got listed is Lunar Solar, the one where you've got the buttons that can switch the level from day to night.
Oh,
and it will like also flip it around. I thought that was absolute magic.
Yes,
like that is just pure magic. Felt very Mario, but I don't want to keep saying that. But that was just fantastic. I thought how it would consistently open up not only new routes but like little secrets in the level of like, oh, you know, there was sometimes even a sequence to how you needed to do it. You'd have to switch this and then run over to the other side at the night time and then switch it back to daytime, defeat the enemies and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was absolutely phenomenal, that level.
Yeah, that was I couldn't agree more, and I can't really add anything to that. But yeah, it felt smart. I like it when games like this sort of play with levels. So like you'll be in I've had this sort of be in my level bonnet since we played Castlevania Symphony of the Night, in which, like, you know, like when you get like halfway through that game, it flips the castle upside down. You're like, oh, this environment that I was interacting with suddenly feels new and fresh again and totally different to what it was before. And then you sort of start appreciating the way that the game was designed and that the level was designed in a way that you didn't know previously. I think this has got a bit of that in it, in that it, like, it flips things on its side and creates different areas. And it's just smartly designed. I'm going to just go around in circles saying it's well designed over and over again, so I'll stop.
That's a nice analogy to something like Symphony of the Night. Actually, I didn't really put those two together. Downside Surprise, I think, is a lot of people's favorite levels because it's the one where you turn into a little mouse, and it's just so clever.
That one,
and it's so
massive grin on my face when you just realize what the game was doing, and like taking different enemies and like just again like smart level design, and that like something that you have just been marching through the game up to this point suddenly becomes like an obstacle to be conquered, and it's just really, really well done. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because I think it doesn't really tell you what the power is when you get it, but then it immediately traps you in a cage, and you have to become the man. You have to just hit the trigger and think like, that was great. Like getting a new power and hitting the trigger and thinking, what's this trigger going to do? And it turns you into a little mouse so you can escape. And then you're doing stuff like going under people's bed sheets to wake them up by like becoming massive, or jumping into a little bird cage and then becoming massive to break through it and save them. This is my daughter watched me play quite a bit of Astro Bot, and this one had her screaming with laughter to the point as well. Now, even I finished the game now, I haven't uninstalled it because I daren't uninstall it because she consistently keeps coming back. Can I watch you play Astro Bot again? She always wants to watch the Halloween levels as well because she loves Halloween. But this one, she absolutely adored me being the mouse and then becoming big again. This and the Ape Escape one, chasing around the little apes.
The Ape Escape one's fantastic, really fantastic.
Yeah, as you said to me, like you prefer it to actual Ape Escape, which I've had to download now because I think Cassie needs more Ape Escape in her life, so I'm going to have to get good at that for her. You can
apparently never have too much Ape Escape in your life.
Yeah, but that was a great level. But we'll talk about the bonus levels after this. Spooky Time. I really liked the slow-mo gadget in this one. I love the so we can put that one in together with the slow-mo casino because both those levels are fantastic. Yeah. Have you seen Donkey's video for this? I held off Donkey's video for ages. I haven't. In the Spooky Time one, you know, when the ghosts are throwing those knives like lightning fast and you slow it down, he jumped through them without putting the slow motion on. I can't understand. I tried to do it over and over again. I cannot do it, and it looks like he did it in a wanna. What a fucking dickhead. The casino one, I think, is the better of the two slow motion ones. So where, it's very simple, you know, premise of you're going to slow it down and things that are going really fast will become a platform
so well done.
Like chips or darts or whatever being thrown. But
I just loved it when you realized that like getting traversing the level, you had to slow these things down. Like, because it's not even necessarily like the fast ones are quite obvious to me. Where someone's going fast, you slow it down. It's the ones that where like the enemy that is throwing poker cards at you, that's like throwing cards at you, and you realize that to defeat him, you have to slow down his attack essentially to get up to him. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and of course, this just made it easier to kill all the ones that spit shit at you. I really hate those enemies. They're so annoying because their accuracy is just ludicrous. It's so
unreal.
Fucking hit scan on you, and just being able to do it right. You know, the dudes that are shooting fire or whatever, just being able to go up to them and hit them before they've even done their move, and see them like split in half in almost slow motion, and then you turn the power back on, and everything just crumples. I guess that's a good time to mention like the physics engine in this game is just ridiculous.
Oh, so
the amount of tiny particles they throw across the screen all the time is very, very funny.
It rarely had a gameplay sort of action to it, but I loved going into the middle of like something that was like, I don't know, like a ball pit and just spinning, and just throwing everything around. It was just so much fun to do.
Give that engine to the RGG studios so they can make Binary Domain 2, please.
Yes.
We need those physics for the smashed up robots. That would be so perfect. What else have I got? Bathhouse Battle. The Sponge is probably
the
one of the...
Sponge is my favourite, I think. I was wondering if you were going to mention that. I think the Sponge is my favourite sort of power-up that the game has. And I mean, it's a lofty claim amongst a lofty bunch of power-ups, but it was just so satisfying sponging yourself up and then just squeezing it out.
I was going to say, yeah, the squeezing out part. Yeah. So not only does it allow you to like just basically walk through the level like the big mushroom in the old Mario.
It's just so
Mario
fun.
You squeeze water on people.
It's like the first time you end up large, you have to like walk across like a bunch of platforms, and he's just like stomping, smashing everything up as he goes. It's just so fun, and like a bunch of bamboo sticks, and you're just like crunching through them.
Yes,
it's just really well done.
Oh, that reminded me of that level where you've got to shoot those ninja stars at the bamboo shoots to make platforms. That was also pretty awesome. That might be the same level, actually.
Yeah, and then there's a bit later on where you've got to shoot the ninja stars into a wall to create so you can jump on the ninja stars, which is also quite well.
Yeah, that was good. But yeah, the Bathhouse Battle one is so funny. Just turning into a massive sponge to then like splooge all the water all over the fire enemies, really. And turning like the blackened tar enemies, like cleaning them off so they become normal again. Yeah, really, really good. Free Big Brother. They had a couple of like open-ended levels in this game.
The big massive robot like My Giant or whatever it is.
Yeah, like the Iron Giant. Yeah, just kind of stuck, chained up, and you've got to do that. There's the other open-ended level, I guess, is bubbling under the swimming one, which I actually really enjoyed because it had loads of verticality to it.
Tell you what,
because I think you had to open a door to fight an octopus. Yeah. Really liked both of those because it's kind of like slowed the pace down, allowed you to be more. I felt like one of those Mario Galaxy levels again, where like the B level or whatever, where you've just got a little bit of a sandbox to kind of just run around in and figure stuff out, rather than a straight start to end thing, and that added to how well paced the game can be. Of course, you're picking levels basically when you want to do them in your own order, but that was a really nice touch. I don't have any more specific levels, although I did think that you did text me about it as well. Splashing Sprint is probably one of the worst levels in the game. It doesn't really have a lot of bad levels, but that one fucking sucks.
There was a couple. There's that. There's a couple. There's probably that one and one other that I'm blanking on the name of, where it felt like sometimes like traversing through certain areas where it's, maybe I just wasn't good enough, but it felt like it was based on luck rather than skill a lot of the time.
I certainly felt that with the monkey power up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had to. I mean, you can turn them off, but you had to tilt the controller to have him like reach his left and right arms out to climb up stuff. Mm-hmm. I found that just never seemed to work how I thought it was telling me to do it.
Yeah,
and I really struggled to do that in a smooth way. It felt very disjointed when I was trying to use that power up.
And for the most part, I absolutely loved the challenge levels. They were just so much fun, and because there was like roughly one per world, it was just a nice sort of fresh change of pace. Sometimes you would find it, you're like, at least I can stop sort of the Astro Bot search grind and just go and try and run a level over and over again. It's what I liked about the time attack mode in the first game. Sort of brought that back. Even like the sort of the recurring like. What is it, like pixelated battle or something like that? Where you just have to go and smash up pixelated versions of the same enemies and sort of fight them or break the ground around them.
I enjoyed those ones. We got to use this jetpack Mario Sunshine thing to like make a circle around them till they fall through the floor. They were always fun.
And what was can you remember what the power up was in the snow levels, where there was like these spinning things that would drive at you?
Well, you know what? I've got a list of all the abilities. Should we just go through them? We're going to do those later. But All right, I'll do them in the list that they were ranked on Destructoid because that's the easiest one. The chicken.
Okay, chicken was funny, and it was fun to interact with.
It was, yeah. Cassie enjoyed when it laid the egg as soon as it jumped on your back. That was quite funny. But yeah, that one's basically a very short use jetpack. Felt a little bit like the original Rocket Knight.
I might have put the dog worse than the chicken.
I probably would have done as well. Yeah, I think that was one of the not weaker ones, but certainly the one I enjoyed less. It's basically just smash through a door most of the time, isn't it? Some of these are mixed in with the special levels, so I'll try and cut those out of it. They've got elephant next. I quite liked that because it added an extra build your own. Again, how many times am I going to keep saying I'm not going to keep talking about Mario Galaxy? But here's a Mario Galaxy one with the I think it's Mario Galaxy 2 actually, where you had the cloud power up and it would allow you to put clouds under Mario's feet to kind of jump higher.
Yeah,
this one kind of did the same thing, but it had a mix of what did it have?
It had stone, bouncing.
The ice was great. Yeah, the bouncy orange splodge. Don't think so. I think it was those three, wasn't it? Because there's one level near the end where you basically could choose almost. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Things would be spinning around on a platform and you could pick which one you wanted to use. But the ice one was great because it made a little slide every time. So good. You could get some real speed out of that. I really liked that one. They reckon it only truly shines on the Trunk of Funk planet. That's not a level I mentioned, but I have seen a lot of people say that's their favourite one.
Oh, okay.
The one where you've got the big tree singing and dancing. But
that is a good level. The tree song's good.
That's what people like a lot about it. Yeah, the tree song. Yeah,
probably that power up level, the one that's you're sort of in space, jumping from satellite to satellite. That's the elephant. I like that level. That was fun.
Yeah.
You
the penguin.
On a space station.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was that felt like you were using the orange bouncy one quite a lot on that. I think
I used the ice and less forced to do otherwise. I think was my go-to on that one.
Yeah, it was the most fun. To be fair, they're talking about your penguin was mostly in the water levels, right? Which
it must have been. It just helped you swim fast.
Yeah. So kind of unspectacular, but very, very useful and made those water levels far more fun.
Yeah, and it was quite fun doing the sort of what's that dolphin game? Echo the Dolphin leap out the water to jump through hoops and get up places high. Yeah,
and they had lots of dolphins doing that in those levels, but I never felt like that actually rewarded you for doing it. It was just kind of there as a give it. I was trying to jump through every hoop like that, and then never really got any reward whatsoever. So I thought, I don't know what the point of that was.
So I was doing that twice in the game that never gave me a reward. One, I had it in my head that there was going to be a trophy where I had to sort of find all the bits where you put your face through. I thought that was going to be a trophy. And then there's on the crash site when you sort of unlock or get awarded a new little Astro, they sort of flash. And I was like, it's going to want me to punch and interact with every one of these twats. So I just started going around punching them for a while. But two things that I did spent a lot of time doing that was a waste of time.
So, I mean, they're nice, weren't they? They're a nice sort of cute little, punch Kiryu and his stuff falls out of his pocket, or punch Leon and he tries to write on a typewriter or whatever it was. I think that was Chris Redfield, actually. But that was, that's cool. And that's part of what you were saying earlier of how they show the understanding of those games to allow just sort of a really short burst of something that's instantly recognizable as what it's trying to convey from that game. That was really clever. But after a while, as you say, if you suddenly feel like this isn't actually rewarding me for doing this other than going, again, then I'm going to stop doing it. Even getting all of them. I did end up getting all of them in the end, but you pop the trophy for 150.
I did the same. Yeah, once I got the platinum, I had 10 to still get, and I was like, that's 1,000 coins. So I just went and got 1,000 coins.
Yeah,
and then did it.
Yeah, I'm going to do every single thing this game offers for me to do, and then I'm putting it down. I didn't dislike, but I think the octo balloon one where it basically just makes you into a balloon and then you sort of let the air out to come back down.
Yeah.
Jump. That was that's probably one of my least favorites, if not my least favorite.
Yeah, I had some fun moments, but it didn't really do much to me that the sort of flying flower didn't do on sort of a grander scale.
Oh yeah, which was kind of not necessarily a gadget and more of just something you can pick up from the ground, wasn't it? But yeah, you're right. That they basically did just do the same thing. It's just like a big floaty jump, and then I think it was the letting the air out part that made me dislike it, because it took too long to just kind of like keep it really slowed down your flow of platforming by, yes, I've got a big jump, but now I have to press and hold this button to make him slowly sink back down again. So that was,
I love the way the game looked, is sort of in this rough area of the game where you would like walk on something that was inflated. The way it sort of depressed under your feet.
Yeah,
it just looked really, really good.
Yeah, that's a very good. I forgot about this. Yeah, like on a sort of a big hot air balloon or whatever.
Hot air balloon rubber ducky.
Yeah, yeah. The frog gloves, I fucking love the frog gloves. They're so satisfying to use. Especially when you pull two of them together. I would start doing that, I think, to like do a big punch on a big boss fight, and then felt even more fun to like alternate and just absolutely slap the hell out of left and right. Yeah, they were. And I like how they weren't just a way to attack enemies. They also had the little like
traversal
pulling stuff down and the swinging on the
smashing doors in.
Yeah. We've talked about the sponge rules. I've talked briefly about the monkey called Handy D that I didn't quite like. It's basically just a way to climb higher, isn't it? That felt like something that I'm pretty sure was in Astro's playroom.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
And it's especially like, that's the one where you have to like tilt it upwards.
My brain was going to the bloody symbol monkey you get on your back at the end during the credit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was an interesting idea. Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of the monkey, purely because I guess I'm not very good at it, or it didn't feel like it was working correctly for me.
Yeah,
which is a shame.
It's a fun sort of get in, get out thing, like that. There was a similar mechanic in the previous game to that, and yeah, I enjoyed what I had to do with it, but there was a time attack level that I basically just did not interact with because I couldn't be bothered.
The time stopper, we've already said, is amazing.
Yes.
The last normal power up that they've got listed here, which they've listed as their number one in the entire game, was the rolling ball, or the pot, as you were saying earlier on.
I mean, it was good.
Apparently called Muteki.
It was good. I don't want to say overused because it was used like 3 times, but I would have rather seen more sponge, if I'm honest, because the sponge is one to get in, they use it and then get out. They come back to the pot a few times, I felt.
For the final level as well, isn't it? Because that's when you're jumping in those volcanoes and it's spitting you out.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt like I was getting confused with those things as trying to crush you, and I'm pretty sure if you went into the ball form, they are supposed to never be able to hurt you.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
Just sort of crash against you, but felt like they still killed me a lot of the time anyway. But maybe I wasn't doing that.
I was actually thinking about mentioning this on the podcast because it's interesting you say that. It's like there was like the odd time I thought I encountered a bug, and it was just few enough times that I was like, is this me or is this the game? But for example, like because I fell through the floor of the world like 2 or 3 times.
Oh right.
And the other thing that happened to me that I couldn't quite decide, it felt like every like 200th jump would go a bit wrong. So you know, like how you press X, jump, and then you press X again, and his little beams would come out his feet.
Yeah.
There would be like every so often I would jump, and he would do like a low jump, then lower jump than you were expecting it to do, and then you press X again to try and hover over a gap, and he just wouldn't hover, and he'd just fall to his death. Did that ever happen to you? It was just like
probably
the jump wasn't quite working right sometimes for me.
Probably mostly in the challenge levels, like the PlayStation button levels. Yeah. Just you think that you've jumped a second time off the ground, but he actually just does the thing again, the little stream or whatever, and then you just fall to your death. Yeah, but not often enough for me to be annoyed by it. No, I think maybe I just put it down to these are the challenge levels. They're supposed to be harder. You know, you're getting frustrated because it's harder than the base game.
That's it. I was like, I feel like something's going wrong here that's not meant to be, but it's few enough, obscure enough, and I'm on a level that's hard, giving me the impression that there is a chance that it's just me.
Yeah. Then of course you've got the hero bot powers or whatever from those special levels. So we'll talk about those now. Yes. I'm looking at a ranking here, but I'm going to do them. Try and remember to do them in the order that they come along. The first one is the Ape Escape one, right? Apes on the Loose.
Yes.
Which we've
awesome and ever so slightly surprised that they chose to make this a special level, given that I don't know how many people know what Ape Escape is if they're under 30.
That's a very good point. I think that it was one of the better ones because it gave such a because the original game that it's pardon the pun aping is so easy for this game to replicate. It's fine. It's fine and change the monkeys. Hit them with the rope. Yeah, hit them with the net. Done. Because it was so easy to just get that actual game replicated in here rather than just one element of it. This felt like one of the best ones in terms of like I can see what you're trying to do in terms of I can pick every single part of what you're copying like in this. I can see every single element of that this works so well for it. It's the same with the Loco Roco one, which I've seen I'm looking at Game Rant here. They rated that as the worst of the lot because they've seemingly are just pissed off that it was picked ahead of things like Spider-Man and Ghost of Tsushima, which we've already said.
The Loco Roco one was a great one, I thought.
That was, because it was so unique. Like, it was like nothing else in the game. And again, alongside the Ape Escape one, those two for me were the two levels of those that were most like what they were, what the original was.
My critique
felt like you're playing that game rather than Astro Bot with a gun 100%. In it.
I absolutely loved. Actually, now you've reminded because I forgot about those. I absolutely genuinely loved those Loco levels. My critique of those levels wasn't the levels. It was that I thought they were taking the biggest liberties with what they were classifying as an Astro Bot with that character.
Yeah,
I was like, that is just a character on the level. That is not an Astro Bot you've got here.
Yes, very true. Yeah. Where's this guy's legs gone? Because most of the Astro Bots are just supposed to be Astro Bot with a hat or whatever, or some clothes. And these are like decapitated Astro Bots just with a fucking hoodie on. But that level was fantastic. Like,
so good.
I've not really played a lot of Loco Roco.
Really.
I have touched. Like, I think somebody else I knew once had it on their PSP or whatever. I think it was PSP, wasn't it? Not Vita. Maybe it's on both.
I think it's on both, yeah.
I don't remember them ever having a fully 3D Loco Roco level. In my head, it's always been 3D.
I think you're right. They're 2D.
But I thought it transitioned into 3D really nicely.
Yes.
Even if you're just tilting that. If you turn the motion controls off for this level, you have no heart. Like, there's no need for you to do. Like, the whole point of this is tilt the fucking controller and have fun with it. I can let my kid do it. She's 2. I can give it to her and go, there you go, have fun with that.
The only controller gimmick that I mean, it happens once, but I was like, I don't want to do this, is when you've got to blow into your controller to blow the candles out.
That's always so shit. Mm-hmm. Like, no one should ever, because that can't be based on, the physical feeling of the air on the controller. It can't detect that. No. It's just the noise.
Yeah.
So could I not just go?
I bet you could, actually. That's probably worth a try.
Yeah. And that's another thing. My daughter is not old enough yet to know how to blow air out correctly. She
spits everything.
Basically, she'll just sort of go rather than blow. So every time I said to her, like, go on, do you want to blow these candles out? She'll just go all over my controller instead of actually blowing air out. She can't blow birthday candles out.
I was about to say, that still is the risk of toddlers when you get them to blow the birthday candles out and then everyone's like, do you want a bit of cake? I'm like, nah.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to eat some of this PlayStation controller? No, you kid spat on it, mate. So people who don't like Loco Roco get fucked. I don't like that stage anyway, can get fucked. You seem to like the Uncharted one. I liked it, but it did just feel like Astro Bot with a gun.
Yeah.
Did have a good boss fight though. We'll talk more about the boss fights after this.
Fight. I enjoyed the falling down building when that happened. I also sort of it sort of repeated itself a little bit too much, but I thought the music was quite fun. It was like Astro mixed with Uncharted. But yeah, I just thought I don't know. It entertained me by making me realize that a lot of Uncharted's moment to moment gameplay is just running and gunning.
Yes.
And climbing on things.
Yes.
It's the sort of environment design, the characters that sort of in the moment
you can't tell a narrative with a robot that doesn't speak, can you?
In the big set piece moments is what makes Uncharted special. The actual like basic gameplay loop is quite simple and derivative. Yeah.
I mean, it was an obvious cameo. Obviously, they're going to do an Uncharted level.
It's like the biggest, most famous thing of the last 20 years, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also I assume it was deliberate. the level's called Dude Raider. It was just absolutely acknowledging the fact that it's a better modern Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I think it's called Dude Raiding.
That's it.
Yeah, so I guess he is a dude who's raiding rather than tomb raiding. Yeah, but you're right. It is, yeah, exactly that. I think I preferred the shooting of the bow and arrow, even though I don't like Horizon anywhere near as much as, or at all really, but anywhere near as much as Uncharted. That felt at least. Is there a there must be slow-mo bow stuff in that game. Is that why it does it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that makes that again felt more like this is more accurate, or at least feels more unique to the game you're trying to copy than Uncharted, because as you've just said, the spectacle of Uncharted is what makes it rather than the shooting, especially the older Uncharted games. I really, really liked the God of War one. I thought they absolutely nailed that. Just having the Leviathan axe was exactly spot on. And of course the soundtrack, where a lot of the music is just him going boy, was so funny.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was really good. I also liked the having to find the ravens was quite a nice touch that I thought. And there was that bit on the wall in the secret room that told you how many of the ravens you had at that point.
It's
just like little nods like that were really smart.
Which was, of course, annoying if you found out that like the first raven was crossed off and you hadn't actually got it yet, and you're like, "Fuck, I'll start the level all over again." Which I obviously, I don't know about you, but when I found that I was collecting the bots through the level, if I got like, I don't know, the fourth bot and then the previous two bots weren't filled in, I was like, "Fuck, I'm starting again."
Yeah, I just went back. What I did is because normally you can see the whole level, so I'd like climb up something and look back to see if I could see them, and if I could, I'd make my way back. If not, I was like, oh well, we're starting again.
All right, well, maybe not start the level again, but I certainly would not leave until I'd gone back and done it afterwards to get the bot. I don't actually think I really used a guide for anything in this game other than the achievements, the trophies that I couldn't be bothered to figure out specifically, but finding the bots felt like it was. I say you didn't use a guide. I would go back and buy the dudes with the coins.
It was never not fun to do that. I think the only thing I think that the little bird didn't do is I don't think the bird told you where the secret exits were.
It did for me.
Did it? Okay, maybe I'm just misremembering then. But they
were cool. Actually,
it was always fun just to sort of go. If you missed one, go back, spend 200 coins, which is nothing, and then it would sort of tell you when you got to an area. And you just sort of try and work out where to go to get to it.
Yeah, I thought that was a great system.
Yeah,
like
really
it stops you going past it again, which would be the worst part of it. Like if you're trying to find these specific things and you're just continually walking past and missing it, that would be shit. But it doesn't tell you how to get in there or what to do to unlock it, and it's just kind of like a general radar system. Really, like spot on way of doing it. So what? Yeah, that was the last one, wasn't it? Yeah. So what was your favourite of the?
What have we just spoken about?
The hero level. So you've got obviously Ape Escape, Loco Roco, Uncharted, Horizon, and God of War.
God of War. What was my favourite? I mean, Loco Roco for its novelty is probably up there, but in terms of like. Well done, probably with you in the God of War one, to be honest. The God of War one was good. I think the Uncharted one, as much as I loved it, I think I loved it again because I love Uncharted. If I had no nostalgia for an Uncharted game, it probably is quite the weakest because you're just running in a straight line for the most part, smashing the triggers to shoot things.
Yeah.
Like reloading was automatic, the aiming was automatic, so you were just sort of
that was the weakest part, I thought.
But I enjoyed it because it was Uncharted, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, there's a submarine. Oh, there's a crashed plane. Yeah, it was good. But probably the best done one I think I would agree with you, Loco Roco, or like you say, the God of War one.
Yeah, with a good shout out to Ape Escape for just being a level of Ape Escape.
Yeah.
Like I say, and the level I've probably played the most because Cassie just kept wanting me to do it again. Just go do the monkey one again. The bosses, that's the last thing I had to talk about. I think most of the bosses in this game are really, really good.
Really good. Thoroughly enjoyed pretty much every single one.
Has quite a lot of mini bosses as well. That was a nice touch to just sort of see a level end in a mini boss, like the pirate dudes. I enjoyed those.
Probably a main boss I enjoyed was and I've blanked it now. The genie that you got to.
Oh
yeah,
yes,
to rub the lamp.
Yeah. I couldn't figure that out. I was doing that totally wrong.
I was trying to get on top of it, and it kept chucking me off. I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. And then I noticed he was like, you got a green thing when you walked alongside of it. Yeah, the genie level I thought was really good. It was really fun and challenging.
Yeah, because that was kind of like a half and half, wasn't it? Started off in a little open bit when you're in the sort of the marketplace, and then all of a sudden you're in this floating crazy wind level, and then you've got a boss fight at the end with
I like the way that the
genie.
The boss fight was layered, so like it would have the sort of heads that it was firing at you, and then every time you got a bit further on, it would increase the amount of enemies that you also had to deal with and the type of the enemies as well. Yeah, it was just such a really well done boss fight. Really, really well done.
So yeah, you've got the the big gorilla from the first world where you effectively have to batter his teeth out of his mouth. That was funny. We said the mini boss of
which is
Captain Pincher, which is the one at the first pirate boss where you use the monkey power up to basically climb up him and twat him in the face.
Yeah.
I forgot about the one where it's like 3 birds that are in unhatched eggs, and you've got to use the elephant power up to like squish out the orange stuff, jump to the top, and then smash through their shell, and then suck out basically suck out their entire body to just murder them. Disgusting. The octopus boss made me feel cathartic in terms of it felt like I was giving another ass whooping to that piece of shit from Diddy Kong Racing. All octopuses are dead to me after that cunt. But that was a good one because that one used the frog, boxing gloves. Yes. That's the word. And he's obviously got boxing gloves on as well, and felt just so sad. Like this game is obviously as it's one of the key components, or the key what's the word? Sort of. Oh, fuck's sake. This game, Astro Bot, is one of the key titles on PlayStation 5 that harnesses the use of the DualSense.
Oh, yeah.
And it felt like the boxing glove thing where it just kind of like put some resistance on the triggers to add to how hard you had to pull them to punch properly. Was a lovely little touch. And just battering the hell out of that octopus was good fun as well, I thought. I also always liked the ones where you had to basically grab 2 things at the end and then use like a slingshot mechanic to just fire Astrobot straight into their face. That was always good fun.
What was the boss where you had to slow down time and climb up his tongue? That was really good as well, and like punch his tonsils in.
What was that? Because I'm just seeing there's a giant pig boss that was called Nidhogg. That was fantastic naming convention there. We've had a lot of fun with that game. Was it Lady Venorama, the one where you had to slow it down?
Oh yeah, what was she? No, she was. Was she the one with the sword? And she would like try and stab you, and you had to like run about and then bash her sword in. That was like the first phase.
No, this is the giant snake at the end of that. The whole snake galaxy where you had to basically like hit the parts of her tail.
Yes, okay.
And then she'd make the levels smaller. Mini boss. Who was this? Chief Kawa. Who the hell is that? Oh, that's in the that's the ghost thing from the Uncharted level. You had the big giant iguana thing shooting all of his fire at you, where you had to use the slow motion. That's the one, isn't it?
That's the one. Yeah, it's like an iguana's tongue.
Yeah, because he shoots fire at you, and then you had to jump over the fire in the slow motion, and then you slowed down his tongue that he would stick out at you, and then run up it and twat him in the tonsils.
That was good.
That was good. Yeah, the genie of the lamp we've already talked about. What's this? Frigid Frosty. Who's that? Oh, Frigid Frosty. Yes, I forgot about that level. That's the snow level where that one absolutely made me feel like Banjo-Kazooie Freeze Easy Peak, because you go down a slide that looks like it's his scarf and then smash his hat off. So Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh yeah. Because he's the one that you can see from the start, and he's got like the end of the game in his stomach.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you get to it by basically smashing his head down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was great.
that was
that one.
a lot of the ice
skate. Yeah, the ice a lot in this game is just really fun.
I'm gonna say it again, but Mario Galaxy copies the ice skating stuff from Mario Galaxy, but it does it really nicely. So we're all good with it. What else we got? Mini boss, Captain Shortfuse. Oh yeah, that was another pirate skeleton dude. What else? Uberfoe. Who was that? Oh yeah, that's like the alien spaceship thing. That was kind of a weak one because he's just kind of shooting gank enemies at you out of his gusset.
Yeah.
And then you just have to take them all out and beat him up. What else we got? Falcon McFly. Oh, that was a brilliant boss.
That's the one where he's on his back, right? And you've got to open his like speakers and his wings. Is that the one? Is that one?
Yeah, you've got to jump on his wings to like flip him over backwards and then you jump onto his head.
Yeah, it was a great boss.
Incredible spectacle on that level. Yeah, that was so good. I'm just watching about now. Oh, that's the one. Yeah, you're using the ball on that one. So you would kind of jump really high and then ball him. Who's Blunderjaw? What's that one?
Blunderjaw.
Oh, that was the big dinosaur set piece chase in the Horizon Zero Dawn level.
Oh yeah, that was
got a big
fun.
old T-Rex running after you. Yeah, because he's firing explosives. You got to slow down time to hit them.
Some reason reminded me of the end. What
Breath of the Wild?
Is it the end of Dino Crisis, where you're getting chased by the T-Rex?
Yeah.
Shoot rockets at it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Dino Crisis. PlayStation Squadron Go. Oh yeah, it became it became a shoot 'em up for a bit, didn't it? Where you're on the last level. And yeah, that was a cool idea as well. Just again, shamelessly PlayStation, but like dudes are flying around on memory cards and PSPs and stuff. That's so awesome. Like I'm never gonna not smile at something
the
like
old
that.
Power Rangers thing where it does like Megazords, some of the stuff together, and you shoot it and then it breaks apart again. Yeah, it's just really fun.
Yeah. What do you think to the final boss, with his Wheel of Fortune, the PS5 scalper?
I couldn't figure out if it was random or not. Did you ever?
Because didn't you have to throw something at it? Is that right? Didn't you have to use your magnet power and then throw at the thing while he was spinning it around?
And then you chuck something at it and it would stop. I couldn't tell if it was where it was stopping. Was it random or was it sort of preordained? Because there was a couple of times
I think I got the same thing twice. Yeah,
it's not. It must just be what it is.
Just your timing of your button press. Yeah. But yeah, I really just a great selection of bosses that all had to try to make use of whatever power you'd got in the level as well. Like every single boss, every single gadget has got a boss to go along with it, which is just good game design, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That was basically all I had.
No, it's such
anything else you want to add?
No, not really. You've kind of covered it. It's just such a lovely game that is sort of simultaneously a really well made, thoughtful game with lots of ideas that they deliver on for the most part. And even if they don't deliver on it, which I can't really think of many options of many occasions when they didn't, it was in and out so often that it didn't actually matter by the end of it. And it combines that with a sort of clear understanding, reverence, and dare I say, love of Sony as an IP. I know I will constantly say this, and I think I will till the end of time. But I have been like fluttering on the idea of trying to play my PlayStation more and sort of drifting away from my Xbox. My favorite thing about the PlayStation, certainly now and always has been, is the personality that it feels that the console and Sony have with the PlayStation. I would say Xbox used to have it during that personality and sort of feeling that you get. They used to have one that I liked during the Xbox 360 era. I think they've perhaps lost their way in that somewhat just now, and
but they have become a bit cold.
Yeah, they just feel a bit sort of, here's a box that doesn't. Here's a
PC in a box with a controller.
As much as I slag it off, and as much as I personally don't like the design, the PlayStation console has personality. The box, the Xbox box is a fridge. So it's
a fridge with a piece of the UI in it.
It made me feel nice and nostalgic about Sony again. which I enjoy feeling and sort of wish I had more of in my life because I play my Xbox and PC primarily. Because I realise actually, I think this is the first game I've played properly on my PlayStation this year. So I don't touch it very often, but whenever I do, I sort of like, oh yeah, I really like this. I don't like that you charge me £70 for a game, and I don't like that you're hiking the price of Horizon Zero Dawn because you've announced a remaster. But
yeah, I mean, I can kind of understand that as well. To be fair, because they don't want you to be able to buy a £15 version and then upgrade it.
Yes,
but just
it's almost
give it to me for free if I already own the game.
Yeah, I mean, like it's almost like the new game that they're bringing out. They're worried that it serves no purpose because the other one's still quite good.
Yeah,
works fine.
It does serve no purpose. But just Xbox wouldn't do that. They would just upgrade it.
They just upgrade it. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, like it's like we're falling down a rabbit hole here, but I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with them releasing remasters because if someone wants a slightly shinier version of a game, fine, go for it, and people are going to pay for it. Then that's absolutely fine. It's we don't actually think it justifies itself properly, so we're going to take away what you've already got access to, essentially. To try and force you to buy this new thing that actually doesn't justify itself makes me angry. But anyway,
I would hope that the price, like if they've locked that price upgrade, it's gone from £15 to £35. If they've locked that to PS5, that's almost fair enough. If that price is what it is on the PS4, where you cannot play the enhanced version, you can get fucked.
You think that's fair enough? I just think like that.
I think it's I think it's fairer if they did it that way.
Yeah, fairer. I agree with that. Like I said, I know I'm repeating myself. It just screams to me that like they're not confident in their product. If they think that they have to take something away that people have access to for a lesser price because they think, or because they know that this actually isn't justifying itself. So rather than, I don't know, it reminds me of when Sony went bad during the PS3 era.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And now that Sony, for all intents and purposes, don't really have a competitor at the moment.
They don't. Yeah, they've even said as much, don't they? They're very very brash about that.
It worries me that Sony have a history of when they're not being when their feet are not being held to the fire through competition, that they make extremely anti-consumer decisions, and that was sort of to me that this is potentially the canary in the coal mine, but we'll see. We will see. And we're talking about Astro, I guess, not my frustrations with the games industry.
Yeah. But yeah, Astro Bot is absolutely wonderful. It's going to be up there for Game of the Year for us, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Do you think
if they just make DLC for it, I'll be fine, rather than just bring out another one?
I hope they do make
adding
DLC.
New world.
And like I said, I would like to see a Spider-Man one. I think would be fun. Yeah. That's probably the next one. And I don't know. There's a bit of me wonders if we're maybe going to get a Square world, if they've if they've held off of Square.
Yeah,
maybe that's because they've got something else in the pipeline for it.
That would be sensible, because it's very conspicuous by its omission.
Yes.
So,
I am stalling and trying to speak because I'm trying to open up the Winner's U Compendium of Madness to see what.
I've got it
coming up. Okay, so next up we have No, we just discussed this. Okay. Next up, we have Eternal Darkness. Now, I need to remind myself.
Yeah, Sanity's Requiem on the GameCube, a game I've wanted to play for decades, and we're finally doing it. Unless it's absolute shit, and then
it might be. It might be. I hear the final boss is bullshit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't. I only. That's from like a memory from like 4 years ago when I used to watch a guy on YouTube and Twitch, and he decided to play through Eternal Darkness for some reason, and I watched him do that. So yeah, that's the aim, and if not, we might pop up with something different completely.
Yeah.
If one or both of us plays it and like we can't handle it, but the intention is to play Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, which I am very much looking forward to.
Yes, and then following that, Silent Hill 2, probably both versions, the original and the remake, all in one episode.
Yeah, caveat that with if Silent Hill 2 remake reviews terribly, which actually it seems to.
I guess 4 or 5, then no, just the original.
I was worried about that game when they first started showing it. I was like,
we all were.
Not good. And then the most recent gameplay trailer actually made it look all right again. So
yeah,
we shall see. Is it Bloober Team?
I think it is.
It could go either way then.
It could go the way of the
old Winners U throwback. Is that the first? No, it's like maybe.
What was that game called?
The
Medium.
Yeah,
that was never coming to my head unless I looked it up.
Quality game, to be fair. So
yeah, big time.
There's that. But anyway, yeah, I guess that brings us.
Yeah, I need to go have some lunch.
To the end, of another Winners U podcast. If you like what you heard, and if you didn't, why not give our numbers a bump by subscribing to our podcast on your podcast feed of choice? Or if you prefer to consume our podcast in visual format, you can head on over to YouTube and search a Winners U podcast, where you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. If the podcast isn't enough for you, you can also follow us on the website formerly known as Twitter at WinnerIsYouPod, and you can even send us an email to tell us how wrong we are about our video game opinions by writing to your WinnerIsYouPod at gmail.com. Alex also has not Twitter at SuperThrillix, and I am still on Threads at the moment, struggling because it's just not as good. But it also doesn't stink and is not as rotten as Twitter is. So hey, there's that.
What's your address for that? I think you were going to say
it's at David Smiley. It's the same as my Instagram. I guess with that said, I'm trying to skim through the other bits I've read that aren't relevant, but that said, if you're one of the young ones, we also have TikTok, so head over there and search for Winners U Pod if you so wish. Alex, have we got any housekeeping, or are we getting out of here?
We just recorded the Video Game Hall of Fame podcast that was about adventure games. My pick for that one, spoiler alert, is Snatcher, which is fucking awesome.
Snatcher?
Yeah, boy.
So does Zelda count as an adventure game?
We veered away from action adventure and kept it to like traditional text adventure, graphic adventure, visual novels, interactive movies, stuff like that.
Okay. I might have picked Fahrenheit. What's the European?
Indigo Prophecy is the American one.
The American, yeah. I love that game. That's the only David Cage game that makes even any sort of vague sense.
Yep. But yeah, that one's going to be out by the time you hear this, and the poll is probably still open, so people can go vote on that at VG_HOF on X. But that's about it for housekeeping.
Everyone else picked, actually, because I am a fan of, if that's allowed, if Indigo Prophecy is allowed, I like the Dark Pictures anthology, which is the company that made Until Dawn. That would have been
allowed. Yeah,
they're really good fun. I've got such a soft spot for them. Actually, now it's coming up to October. Maybe I should dip into one of those. Anyway,
just full on horror. Yeah. I picked Snatcher, which is the Kojima Sega CD, Mega CD.
Yeah. Oh, we had been wanting to play that, hadn't we?
I tried a bit of Police Noughts as well, but I haven't played enough of that yet. Steve picked something I can't even remember, Twin Kingdom Valley or something. It's like some fucking old as shit game that's going to get 0 votes. Rob, we've already got Secret of Monkey Island in the Hall of Fame, so nobody could pick that. Rob picked Professor Layton and the Curious Village, which is obviously a wonderful game. Yeah. And Simon picked Broken Sword, the first Broken Sword.
And they've just released a remake of that, or a remaster
of that. Yes. He tried to get the topical votes because he's desperate for a win. But Professor Layton's winning that, I think.
Yeah.
And I have no bones with that.
No, it's a great game.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell, I've been David, he has been Alex, and we have been at Winners U, and I'm out.
Keep gaming.